can be heavy at times, so when we've got some good news, we want to make sure we pass that along. Another missing teen we featured here on Making the Case has been found safe and sound. We covered the search for 13-year-old Shawtyeria Waites in Detroit last Thursday. Her family feared she'd been taken by someone she met on Snapchat. We don't have many of the details about what actually happened, but our partners at the Black and Missing Foundation tell us that Shawtyeria was located safely on Saturday night. And just a reminder, we have a weekly segment highlighting cases of missing Black girls and women. So tonight we're covering a story of a young woman missing out of Houston, Texas. 20-year-old Shawtyeria Waites has been missing for 2 weeks. On July 27th, Shatteria was out celebrating her birthday with friends. Family members say it was then that she met a man at a club who invited her to meet him at an address. That address turned out to be a vacant apartment. No one has seen or heard from Shatteria since she was dropped off at that location by her friends. Shatteria is 5'9" and about 130 pounds. She was last seen on Chimney Rock Road in Houston wearing a pink dress and pink sandals. She has long black curly hair. We partner with the Black and Missing Foundation, and the Black and Missing point out that mental health issues can often play a role in the disappearance of women and children. And in the fortunate cases where missing people are found safe, mental health issues can persist or intensify for both the missing person and their family. Derrica Wilson shared why it's so important to have the conversation about mental health.
So we're seeing an uptick in the numbers of people, particularly Black men, women, and children going missing as a result of human trafficking. I think in the minority community, we need to recognize that this is an issue that we can no longer sweep under the rug. I do understand that in our community, we like to pray everything away, but these individuals, they need professional help. And missing persons is a pandemic in itself. And so now with the pandemic of COVID, we're seeing more and more people having breakdowns and going missing. In the past 2 weeks, 3 of the cases that we were covering was a result of mental health, and they have all been found. But now the families, they are asking for additional help, additional resources, because the person that went missing is not the same person that comes back home. And so now we need our community, we need our healthcare professionals to be able to recognize that this is an issue. We need to help these individuals.
Let's talk about police and even friends and family believing that when someone is going through a hard time, that if they disappear, maybe they're just taking a break. Why is that the wrong way to think about someone in those circumstances who go missing?
Because first of all, time is of the essence, and oftentimes that's what you hear. They just need to get away. They need to clear their heads, but they are very vulnerable. They're not in their right state of mind. Oftentimes they're under medication, and if they're not taking their medication, their judgment is very cloudy, and they are being preyed upon and they're being victimized. So we can't take that approach. Every case needs to be taken seriously, and we need to get out there and we need to find them. Sadly, some of them, there's those unfortunate endings for these cases because, oftentimes police and the community and the families think that they're taking a break.
You're also seeing more families come forward to ask for help with mental health services during a search. Can you speak about the emotional toll it takes on a family when they don't know where their loved one is?
It's very devastating for families, not knowing if their loved one is hungry, if they're being mistreated, if they're going to walk through the front door again. So once we're able to find these missing individuals, these families need all the resources made available. And as a community, we need to rally around those families to help them. We always talk about what can we do more. And one of the things that I would like to bring up is our faith-based communities. We have so many different professions in the church, whether it's, doctors, psychiatrists. If these families can't afford it, we need to get back to those basics in helping these families navigate through this process. Just yesterday, we released something on our social media platform encouraging all of our followers and supporters to tag those resources in their respective states, because we can't possibly know all the mental health resources throughout this country, but we want to be able to compile that list so we can share with these families so they can have a place to turn to for additional assistance.
Tell us more about those resources that the Black and Missing Foundation connects families with. What are some of the most in-demand services right now?
Some of the most in demand is, doing the searches itself, creating those flyers, getting resources for mental health, as we were discussing a moment ago, of those organizations and advocacy groups that we are aware of, human trafficking resources, because that is an issue that's affecting our community. One of the things that we also do is we take a proactive approach as well. So we want to arm our community with the awareness. We have to have those uncomfortable conversations about what's happening. We don't want to always be reactive. We want to be proactive. So, if you see something, say something. If you realize that your loved one has an issue, help them, reach out. Don't wait until it's too late. So that's something that, we are tackling with our community. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
We often think that once a missing person is found that the problems are then, gone, because now you have them in physical form, but those mental health issues still exist and could get worse. Talk to us about what families have to deal with even when they get their loved ones back.
So we always say the easy part is finding them, and it may sound cliche. The real work begins when they come back home. Again, that person, that loved one that went missing, is not the same person that returns. These families are devastated. These individuals, they're traumatized because we don't know what they experienced, while they were out there. I can think of one case in particular where a young woman went missing. She had mental health issues, and she was also a victim of human trafficking. And when she returned home, she made attempts to commit suicide. And it was very devastating to her family, where they didn't want to leave her unattended at all, because they didn't know if she was going to go back out there. They didn't know what her mindset was. So it is very traumatizing. So not only does that individual need counseling, but the family needs counseling as well, because this is very traumatic for anyone to go through.
All right, before we let you go, Derrica, just tell us one more time about your call to action on social media and how we can all help.
We are encouraging everyone. First, you can visit our website, bamfi.org. You can connect with us on all of our social media platforms. We put out a Did You Know about the mental health issues, and we're encouraging all of our followers and supporters to tag or list mental health resources in your area. We want to compile this information and be able to provide it to these families so they will have a place to turn.
More Making the Case after the break.